Hi! So this week I'm taking part in Comic Relief School of YouTube, a week where a bunch of content creators from around the country all learn and impart knowledge on new skills in the hopes of raising awareness and money for a good cause. So as a lot of you know, I've been talking a lot about, but barely acting on, the fact that I'd like to make and release more music. So to tackle that, I've been learning to play a bunch of new instruments, but they all have a couple of things in common. They're all a bit weird, and they're all a bit small. So today, in honor of Comic Relief, I'm going to show you what I've learned and hopefully teach you a little something about the joy of learning music. The ukulele, made famous by YouTubers and large Hawaiian men. As those of you who've been around since the early days know, the ukulele sort of accidentally became the signature instrument of the YouTube community. Almost everybody had one and could play one. I never did, so I thought that I was in the midst of a lot of wonderful musically gifted people. Then I started learning how to play one and I realized my entire life is a lie because it is very easy to learn. As you can see, it works just like a guitar, which I can't play, except it only has 4 strings, all in a slightly different order. The strings when open are G, C, E, A. Remember this by thinking, gotta catch 'em all. These metal bits between the gaps are called frets, and each fret is worth a semitone, which means that the notes you play correspond to the note of the string plus how many frets you're holding down. A little bit maths for you. Put them together and you get a chord. That's a G. I memorized a lot of chords through a mixture of Googling and crying, so that's probably the best approach to take. You can play with a pick, or don't, because it sounds a lot nicer when you learn how to strum with your thumb. So practice every day, and after 8 months you can sound just as mediocre as me. The Ocarina! Made famous by my favourite fantasy title, Harry Potter and the Ocarina of Gallifrey. That may have been a fanfiction. The ocarina is very similar in sound and technique to the recorder, except it's made of ceramic, it's shaped a bit like a potato, and you aren't forced to play it in primary school. It's also very unique because, as you can see, the holes are sort of everywhere, kind of a mishmash, and nowhere actually teaches you what the notes are that come out. They just teach you the finger placement. So I can play something like this. But I have no idea what the notes actually are. So if you are like me and you have a musical soul but you are completely musically illiterate, then this is the instrument for you. Ah yes, the stylophone. Music's answer to the platypus. For those unfamiliar with the stylophone, it has a connected stylus to it, so it works quite similar to the Nintendo DS, except instead of playing video games, it screams when you touch it. In order to truly play the stylophone to its best potential, you have to learn how to transcend the boundaries of time and space. Unfortunately, nobody has learned how to do this yet, which is why playing the stylophone still sounds like this. But it does still have a lot of potential as a very powerful musical tool. If you use it in the right setting and put a lot of special effects and synth on it, then you could easily become the very next, what's his, the famous, isn't it? The first famous stylophone player. Now my favourite thing about the harmonica is that if you want to change the key in which you're playing, you buy a completely different harmonica. Now the actual secret to playing the harmonica is, I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually know. Like one day I woke up and I realised that I could do this. I feel dizzy. I think that's a good place to stop. I hope that you've learned something about the finer points of playing eccentric musical instruments. I know I've learned a lot today. Honestly, it's great that we can constantly share and access content online that teaches us about the weirdest things, like how not to play the stylophone. But there are still young people in the world who don't have access to a basic education. For example, a child living in poverty in Peru could attend preschool for a whole year for just £50, something they don't have right now. But through the actions of the guys at Comic Relief, and with your help, stuff like that can become a reality. When you finish watching this video, head over to comicrelief.com/Liam to get some more information. You'll also see some suggested donation amounts there, but there's also a box where you can put in your own amount. Please give whatever you can and help put some of the less fortunate people in the world on the same path that a lot of us have taken for granted. That's all from me. Make sure you watch some other School of YouTube videos today. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you whenever.